Love it.
Yeah, it's cool until you see me play. I'm not good.
Beach volleyball.
Just serve it to Tom.
Sometimes the net's a little lower, so I have a chance at spikes. Like the taller people are like, "You're so low." I'm like, "Dude, let me live."
Who is the beach volleyball? Karch Karai? Was it Karch?
Karch Karai's a legend.
Yes.
As is Phil Dahlhauser. Shout out LA or wherever.
There we go.
Heath, I don't know California.
Keith, you were big into the volleyball circuit, weren't you?
Yeah, huge. Dude, this is the beach volleyball mecca out here, which is why I don't play, because I can't get into a single game. Dude, my kids play basketball with all the ex-AVP parents, and the kids are like 1.5 feet, 2 feet tall. Great, and you're like, my kid's got no chance, dude. At that age in basketball too, it's just who can reach higher, and they're like 2 feet too tall, 0.001% height.
99th percentile heart.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. All right. Are we live now?
Yes, I think we are.
Are we live? Oh, hey! That was such a I had to mute all my things because I was like, why am I hearing all this nonsense? But anyways, hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the first ever Kickback Committee Happy Hour. We are so glad you are here. I am the host. Is there a host of Happy Hour? Am I hosting this Happy Hour?
Suze, you're hosting.
I guess I'm hosting the Happy Hour. But I've got some pretty amazing soccer friends joining us today. We've got obviously David Goss.
Cheers.
The OGs. He's sipping on something delicious. Looks like a
Trader Joe's margarita, as my wife proudly stated.
Tremendous. Tommy Scoops, Tom Bogert in the house. What
Cheers.
you got there, buddy?
Just a non-alcoholic seltzer. Just being responsible on a Thursday night.
He's not going to tell you guys, but he has a beach volleyball tournament coming, and
just a game.
He's got it. It's peak performance time, which I totally respect. And
his team name is normally Parking Lot Beers.
So my men's league soccer team, which we won easily last night, no big deal. PLBFC, short for Parking Lot Beers FC.
Incredible. And then of course the lovely Claudia Pagan.
Hello.
Who is joining us despite the fact that she has to get up at the butt crack of dawn tomorrow.
Suze, you know it too
footy.
well. The body never gets used to it.
It does not. That is absolute facts. You are such a trooper because honestly, what time is it? 5:30. I'd be like, yeah, you know what? This is like I start the wind down time,
After this, I'm taking a melatonin, get myself to sleep. The only way I can wake up in the morning is just get through the day and you'll take a nap at some point. It doesn't always happen, but I have to say that to get myself out of bed.
I get it. I totally
See you in the morning.
Yeah. But that's what Bogart will be saying tomorrow morning.
So this is very exciting because this is our first ever committee happy hour. And we were trying to put our heads together and figure out who we'd want to invite, who we'd want to hang with in this inaugural happy hour. And I'm very excited because we've got two, I'm gonna say high profile soccer friends. There are friends, but they're also people are like, oh, okay. Adding a little bit of legitimacy to this thing that we're doing. Not that we aren't amazing, but I'm just very cool. Should I bring them in?
Yeah.
What do we think? Drum roll? Do we do a drum roll? All right. Joining the committee happy hour is U.S. national team legends Heath Pierce and Jay DeMerit. What's going on, guys? Woo! Oh my God.
USA.
I only see Jay when it's around some sort of happy hour / drinking.
I'm very honored, actually, but very not surprised that I was top of the list. Who's drinking beers? I didn't even know I was invited. I brought an elixir with pomegranate juice, honey, and coconut water. So I'm being on the hydrator moment. So yeah, I didn't even get the memo.
That's for the day after the happy hour. Wow, it's awesome to see you guys. Thanks for hanging. We're super stoked to have you. Yeah, you guys. You and Heath have Jay. You and Heath are no strangers to having beverages together. Correct? Am I right?
The best story is, do you want to tell it?
You go ahead. You tell it from your end, and then I'll
a play-by-play, like
Heath's gonna edit it at the end. Live edit.
My take. You're like, we'll split it, and so. I mean, again, I'll start. So I get a call, and again, same type of concept where it's like, okay, we want to get more to the social side of the game. So Heath was hosting some shows and things at the time, and so he's like, I got this thing. It's like a take on Drunk History, where Drunk History, like they do these like mock-up scripts and scenes, and it's like the guy gets wasted and tells it in a really unfashionable way, but in a way like a drunk guy does. And so the idea was Drunk Soccer Stories was going to be this thing, and so we go to this pub, and we got to start with a few drinks just to get it going. It's kind of the whole point of the show, you know what I mean? So we got to start showing that kind of drinking experience. And I'm from Wisconsin, so like I was born and raised, we just drink and we know how to put it that way. So Heath starts trying to like go like drink for drink with me.
Oh man.
And before we know it, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, so essentially the idea was the more drunk or I could get Jay, the more exaggerated the story gets, right? So we could find some inaccuracies, get him to tell some things that maybe didn't happen where he kind of misremembers it. But we're like 12, 13 drinks in at this point, and it's a mix of beers and shots at the Monroe in Brooklyn. And Jay's story—
Still the warm-up? 12:30, just the warm-up?
Yeah, I thought I was done by then. I was just waiting for Jay to get to the point where like he couldn't tell the story accurately anymore. But his story was getting more accurate over time. As my cheeks and lips and tongue stopped working to be able to use words, Jay was like a pointed sword edge of just like cutting through this whole thing. I'm like, dude, you're missing the point. Like I need you to misremember a great memory of scoring the goal that he scored. I'll let him tell the actual story of what we're trying to get him to exaggerate, but he could never go off of like the accuracy of it. So it ended up with like a 4-day hangover and me not having the ability to like use the story because it was too accurate.
Stop it and go puke in the bathroom. And he was like walking around in the garden outside, like trying to get his shit together. And he was like, I think we just gotta cut it. We gotta cut it. We had to leave. It was awesome.
Because for anybody who's watched Drunk History, which I used to be a huge fan of, but that's literally what would happen to these people. Like they would be like, they would have to like stop and like go and barf and come back. And so you really, Heath, I mean, I appreciate it. It was like you're like method acting,
I was actually not sure that I could do more than 4, but like that was the day that I set my record that day, infamously. The even better part of the story is Jay had booked a hotel room to stay in New York because he had some meetings, but he booked it, I believe, if I remember correctly, on the wrong year for that day. Like he booked it like that 2 or 3 day window, but the next year or something like that. And so he ended up staying with me for a couple of days because he didn't have an actual hotel room. Which was
up with your friends. Oh, sorry, it's the wrong year.
That is incredible. Yeah. Actually, maybe we should bring this show back for as part of Kickback Soccer Media. Like
maybe I should be the host because then
yes,
I defer.
Yes. Then we 100%. This feels
Heath, I appreciate that getting into a national team setting with Jay, you got to elevate your game. Like you saw that next level and you were able to get there. And now you just got to get back in that game to do it more often.
The few times I went to Vancouver when Jay was back in MLS, like that when we would leave, I'd have every one of my friends being like, no, we're like next time we're not going to meet that guy in that place because not only do the drinks flow, but they flow directly from him as like a funnel outward to everybody. And like it's one of those things where it's just like one time you have a memory for life. Maybe you don't remember it, but it's just like, Jay can go. And I appreciate that.
Wow.
Jay, we were told coming into this. So we're learning about Wisconsin all week, which was one of the reasons we thought of you besides your professional drinking skills. We were told that, what was the number, Susanna? 40 of the 54 drunkest counties in America are all based in Wisconsin?
Yep.
That's not surprising at all. I do love and appreciate the tolerance, but I also know that I think it, besides cheese and beer, that's kind of the 1-2 punch. Like I always say, like, we're really proud. What kind of culture is proud to wear a block of cheese on their head?
Beer and cheese, that's what it's all about, dude. Are you kidding me?
Jay.
Proud. Like, we're so proud. Like, it's the first gift I got when I moved to London and started playing over there. The first gift I got was a cheese head, and I couldn't have been more.
It is kind of iconic. Like, you just immediately identify anybody who has that large chunk of cheese on their head as,
It's true though. Okay, here's another context. I go home every summer for 4th of July weekend up at my cabin in Wisconsin, and cabin culture is the best in Wisconsin. That's my family's place, and but every year I come back because we have the best cheese in the world. Like, literally, now we're winning worldwide competitions from Wisconsin, creameries and all these kind of places, and so every time I come back to Canada, where I live near Vancouver, I bring a bunch of cheese. And so this summer, I brought back 14 pounds of cheese.
That's a lot.
Smuggler.
You can take up to 20. You could take up to 20, and I got to 14 this summer. So that
my stomach hurts.
It's long gone. It's long.
Have you ever exceeded the limit for how much cheese you've brought?
Not yet.
Yeah, how do they know?
And you start eating it. You have to start eating it to get on it.
No, and I have to take a carry-on because it's like I don't really travel outside. I don't check bags really. I generally keep it in like a carry-on. I can do like 3 weeks in carry-on.
Wow.
So I have to carry it with me. And so like when you put it through security, like you're always getting flagged. And so every time I'm taking this huge thing of cheese, as long as it's sealed, they never give me a problem. And then we end up going over the cheeses. Be like, ooh, good call on the vintage cheddar.
So bold. Jay, are you familiar? You must be, because I grew up just outside of Chicago, and we would take I-94 up north to Milwaukee to catch some Cubs Brewers games sometimes. And we would always pass the Marsch cheese castle. It was like iconic. And it's basically like, how do you even describe? It's a castle, and all they do is sell cheese. Yes.
Yeah, like they make it into like what it looks like a castle. So it is a Marsch cheese castle. It's the only sign you see on the exit, when you come up. Every sign has a Marsch cheese. Okay, 4 kilometers, 1 mile, 2 miles. Like everything's like, okay, we're there. It's like this mecca because it's right off the highway to your points then. Like, so it's all, you can't miss it.
You cannot miss it. And it was such a treat. Like,
yeah, you got to go to a Packers game or like a Brewers game. You got to see something sport based, or a Wisconsin Badgers game or something like that, and then you have to stop at like a cheese house or a lake or something like that. Like those are kind of the only things we do there, but they're all awesome.
Lake life. Okay, rank them, Jay. Lake life, beer, and cheese. Like, what are the importance to Wisconsin?
I would say Lambo. A Lambo for me.
Lambo, like just its own category.
Yeah, that's number one. Like you have to. I have to go. I have a life rule that I have to go to Lambo every season. Like I have to come home. You know what I mean? And so I have to go to Lambo, and then I'm gonna say, I'll say family then cheese.
You seemed reluctant, but I also get it.
And lake life for me is family. Like that's when I come home. I come home for Christmas and then for 4th of July on the lake. So anyway, that's my Wisconsin people. But
the beauty is when you can combine all of them, because they all kind of go together. It's like this harmonious combination.
They absolutely do. And especially when you throw a pontoon in there, so like 9 of us.
Pontoons are the absolute best ideal mode of transportation on water. I have to say, this is actually a kind of we crowdsourced our scouting report for Wisconsin in soccer terms, and obviously this is one of the reasons why we wanted to have you on, Jay. But one of the categories was hallowed ground in Wisconsin when it comes to soccer. And when we were talking to Peter Wilt on our episode this week, he actually said Lambeau as a hallowed ground for soccer. And he was like, look, has only ever been one match played, and I can't remember which team. Do you remember, Goss, which teams it was that played?
It was some EPL friendly.
It was City.
It wasn't Watford, so we don't care.
He mentioned Erling Haaland, so I know it was.
Yeah,
I know it was
City.
I
think it was Man City, Bayern Munich.
That sounds right.
Yeah, those sound like good teams.
Tracks.
would you agree? Would you agree that Lambeau would be considered a hallowed ground for soccer, or are there like, you know, smaller, more just
I mean, I think because
places?
there is no like said stadium. I don't think yet. I mean, I wouldn't say anything where it would be hallowed. I would say that we may have played some games in it, but as far as hallowed ground, there's only either Camp Randall, which is UW, but they don't really play soccer there. They have their own micro soccer stadium. They don't play at the big Camp Randall where the football team plays. So that wouldn't be considered probably a soccer stadium. I don't know if Lambeau gets there because they've only hosted one game. So I don't know. It's hard to say. Yeah. I'd say there's only one hallowed ground in Wisconsin, as far as I'm concerned, and that's Lambeau Field. So we'll go back to Lambeau.
Where does Fort Madison play?
Brees Stevens Field.
Yeah, that's where like
people are stoked about
and stuff. It's like probably a couple thousand people, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they do the state final for high schools and stuff.
That's pretty cool. It was opened in 1926, and Jesse Owens ran there. That's
cool.
That's what else I've learned.
Well, I suppose we're probably going to get to players soon, but Jesse Marsch is top of mind these days. He's Wisconsin. Are we going to talk about that?
He is.
Yeah, we've got a couple players to talk through. We're going to pick our top 5 players in state history. People have been sending us your documentary in the comments since we announced it. So congratulations, Jay. You are one of them.
Thank you.
Do you want to take a victory lap and give us a thank you speech first?
I would take that. Yeah. Well, no,
take a bow.
The Kickstarter project for me, and like just after the World Cup, was one of the most powerful things I've ever been a part of. Like, because to turn into documentary film, it had to buy $200,000 worth of footage. If you want to show the Premier League, if you want to show a playoff final goal, like that's 40-50 grand a minute, right? And so these guys are like, if you make it to the World Cup, like we got to tell this story. Like you're the only American that's done it in this pathway, and we need to show that. And I was like, well, I don't know, man. Like it's weird when people approach you to tell your story when you're in the middle of your career. Like normally you do that at the end or something, but when you get approached in the middle, I was like, if the World Cup is that kind of end game, which it is really for all players, that's the story. My story wasn't that interesting in that side. It was interesting on how I got there. And so the community just came behind it. It was a Kickstarter. It was the highest independently funded film in Kickstarter history at the time, and $223,000 in 2011 online was crazy. And so for me, it was like thousands of people I didn't know are donating $5, $10, $15, up to $5,000. Like I knew people that I didn't even know that were donating $5,000 to share the story because they watched the World Cup. They were from Wisconsin and they loved the story. Like stuff like this was happening all over the place. And it was just so powerful for me. And that's what I, Rise and Shine and all the stuff that I do now with youth programming and now this new app we're building with EA. It's all built around community because the community showed me that my story was important, but then I also know it's just one part of a big community. So I want to promote others in the field, other people doing great work in other fields. And so this is kind of where Rise and Shine kind of put me into the post-career purpose. And that's kind of like, it was the craziest thing, but really, really communal. And that's kind of the fun part of what I get to do now.
That's beautiful. Well, we had some really interesting conversations this week on our episodes with guys like Peter Wilt and Pat Inferna, who is one of the co-founders of Vermont Green. And we were talking about, like Peter Wilt has built feels like hundreds of different clubs, but literally like
mainly in the Midwest area,
all of them.
Yeah.
But it, the thing that
he likes people who like to drink, and clearly every county that drinks is in the Midwest.
There is like a very common thread through.
Yeah, I mean, you go Wisconsin, Iowa,
all of these places,
Minnesota, any of those places Peter's been hanging out with.
Exactly.
They're all in the community.
Yeah, and he was like kind of like non-committal about his like Illinois, Wisconsin identity, which was.
I didn't want to interrupt the conversation, but I also didn't want to leave without saying anything. Thank you.
Go get him.
Tom, remember.
Thanks for coming.
Tom, hold one hand in the other, and you bump off the inside of the arms.
It's just the biceps into the pecs. It's
no,
just not enough room.
Biceps aren't involved. Tom, you're not the only muscular person to ever play volleyball. Don't do
It's just fat. It's just fat. All right, guys. Enjoy. See you later.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
So if Tom Booger is leaving, does that mean Tom Booger is going to replace him for the rest of the...
Tom Booger's coming. Exclusive. We invited Tom Booger to the happy hour. Wouldn't that be something? Actually, that's a great idea, Claudia, and we should like try to have those two meet.
The unveiling of him on the show.
100%.
Do we know who's got that account? Who that
no
is?
idea.
Do you know?
No, I
don't.
I
thought you had like the intel. No, we'll find out, and then we're gonna. This is a thing. This will be like a mission for the committee. We're gonna.
It's funny though, because when I faked trying to log into Tom Booger, and it said recovery email has been sent to ... pierce@gmail.com.
Yeah.
I wish I would have got to jump on that. I got burner names for all of you.
Cool.
You're running documentary projects about Jay DeMerit on other accounts.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to get back to I was getting to a question with Jay, because we were like the theme of that. All of these guys that have built clubs they were talking about like finding that community and being authentic about it. Like everything that you're doing now, like would you ever have any interest in starting a club, and would you do it with Heath Pierce? Because we asked Pat and Ferna the same question. And I'm
yes and yes.
Okay.
With the short answer. I mean, I already do some like consultancy work with Watford. I'm doing again, part of our tool with what we're doing with this app is that we become an engagement tool for already existing clubs. And so like how fans engage with their clubs, we do interviews, but we do interactive technology. You can check in, send videos, you can host a chant, but then we have a reward layer that you can like earn a scarf or a season ticket or meet the captain after the game. And so it's a system of content where you watch content, you engage with it, and then you get rewards and points and experiences from it. And so you could just do it with anything, and clubs become our first, both youth clubs in their own curriculums, but then also from a club's perspective, from like an MLS or a Premier League club where they want to use it as a fan engagement tool, or they want to use it for an education program for their youth programs. So we can do anything, again, because we're the system, watch content, engage, reward. And so we don't care because we're the rails. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Heath, if you were to start a club with Jay, where would you want it to be? Where do you think would be like, and like with the mindset of like focusing on like community and like that being really, really important in developing the culture of a club? Where would you?
Got to be in the U.S. I mean, Jay's he's a Danish guy. We could go to the suburbs.
Oh, you're looking abroad.
Yeah.
Just take out you're go to Copenhagen suburbs.
I don't know. I don't know if we get the community. I don't know if we get the club building at that point, but we get the community.
We nailed the community part.
Your other days, yeah.
Nailed it.
Where would I do it? I don't know.
Scandinavian Heath was a cool Heath, though. The Scandinavian Heath.
There have been many iterations of Heath Pierce. It's true.
I'm pretty sure Scandinavian Heath was criticized for fashion choices just a couple weeks ago at MLS All-Star by these very people. That's a good question, though. Where would we have to build it? The one thing I would say about building anything with Jay, and just for Rise and Shine, for example, I went back and we told the story of Drunk Soccer. Jay was in New York building what is now Rise and Shine. And that's the amount of time and commitment he's put into building this and learning and understanding and feedbacking and, kind of going through the iterations. And that's, to me, like the real sign of community. When I think about Pat and Ferna, like most people will see is a national championship that Vermont Green won, but there's like a completely understaffed club where everybody's wearing multiple hats. And that's the thing that I like, that you could basically drop Jay, which I think is a rare trait, as a chameleon of sorts, into any community, and he can kind of build from there, and we'll put in the commitment. So it's really hard for me to narrow down what an exact community would be or what area or part of the country, because yes, he's prideful, I think, of his origins, but I don't think he's struggled to like kind of go anywhere and become very much part of any community. If you've seen some of the outfits that he's worn at some of his,
Hey, he's not wrong. I mean, I have a degree in design, so that puts a whole creative lens throughout how I live my life. And I always say I was a designer before I was an athlete. I graduated school before I turned professional on the soccer field. So, I was a professional in something else before I turned professional in soccer. And so, I see the world through a creative lens, and it always drives anything I do. So keeping even with the club, it's like, what are you doing in the stands? That's true culture. Like, they're the lifeblood of what we do. It's the fans. It's not the players, and it's not the administrators. We are the revolving door. The fans are the things that come every week. And so they become the priority, in my opinion, of how you build, because they are numbers. So that's the scalable side of club concept. But it's also, if they're not happy, they're not going to come. So start there and make sure that they understand what that true experience is. And then from there, you know, again, what are you doing before the game and what are you doing after it? I think games are a 3-part process. It's like, what's the tradition on the way in? What's the environment while you're there? And then on your way out, what are we doing so you come back next week? Like that's a 3-part process. But then, you know, once you're doing that, now you got to go even deeper and you got to go, cool. Well, is it bands? Is it a DJ at halftime? Is it deals on hot dogs and popcorn? Is it some cool thing that the 100 kids get to go on the field at halftime and take a penalty? Like, I don't know. My guess is to do what that banana team does in baseball. Just keep changing.
The Savannah Bananas.
Yeah. And they're selling out Fenway Park. Like what? Like I was reading something and they try to come up with like 130 new ideas a week or something stupid like that. I'm like, what? These guys are nuts. But it's like, that's the idea. It's like every week that stadium becomes something else. And then I think Angel City does this really, really well. I mean, you guys have probably all been to Angel City games, but like every time I'm there, it's like, oh, here, check this out. Jumbo John's got something different. There's a group of 20 girls in the corner wearing capes because it's superhero night. And then you got drink specials on the inside, and the execs are hosting great people and actors and all the cool stuff, right? So it's like that for me is like club structure for culture. And then the players, in my opinion, have to match the place. I don't think that MLS does a good enough job of that. Like, we're like, hey, bring in this DP because they're a huge name. But like, why would you bring somebody from a hot culture and put them in Seattle?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They hate the rain. They hate the snow. They don't want to be there. You know what I mean? Like, why would you bring them there? You know what I mean? Like
paging the Portland Timbers right now. We'll have a team that's entirely like from Colombia.
Yeah. And again, like some guys from Colombia might like it, but again, no on the way in. And I don't know if we all in North American culture do enough job of vetting that. And I saw that in our expansion years in Vancouver. Like when I was the captain of the team for the first 5 seasons, it was like, we're trying to build from 0 to 26 guys. And that's an expansion problem. And, you know, like we had 6 guys they brought up from like would have been USL 1 to stay. And then we had like 18 new players. And then we had 5 big signings. Well, but big means no DP signings, but like, you know, max cap guys, John Thorrington, Joe Cannon, I don't know if you remember those names, but like they were all part of it. And then I had just come from Watford. And so like we had a pretty good core group, but you know, trying to get the culture right when you don't really know each other, you don't know who's coming from who. We had a Scottish guy, you got Norwegian guys, you got a bunch of MLS guys, you got a bunch of young players that are trying to make it. And then, you know, all of a sudden you got to build culture. It's like, whoa, how do you do that? You can't do it instantly. And then you look at the clubs from Europe, like when I was captaining Watford, you know, you have the name EST 1982, EST 18, whatever. So 1974 on Whitecaps. So I walk on them out, great, wear the badge. 1974, first franchise in North American sport, NASL. They were one of them. They were one of the 3, Vancouver. So 1974 on the badge. At Watford, same badge, but the year said 1881. Right. And so if you think about what that means,
100 years, that what they built.
Perspective, traditions, what you do before, during, and after. Now you got a different conversation because they've been going to the Red Lion for 78 years. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, Joey's just changed to Maloney's pub now down the corner in Vancouver. Like, we're okay, let's go there. There's no transfer in that culture because we're just starting it here. You know what I mean? Like, we got to give ourselves time, in my opinion. So that would be built in. It's like creating new culture, but still honoring the levels of the game, you know. And I think that's the thing we don't do here enough. It's like there's a bunch of people, and go back to players like Jimmy Banks, who's a Wisconsin legend. Like, who knows about him? There's not a 12-year-old in Wisconsin that knows who Jimmy Banks is, but they should.
Yeah.
And
he's on our list because this is sort of what we're trying to do, which is talk about this history, talk about some of these names that should be honored and celebrated at the level that they are. So we have, for our five-a-side, you were mentioned heavily. The other one that seemed kind of a no-brainer from Wisconsin was Leslie Osborne, 61 caps, played in the World Cup.
She would be my number 1. I never won a World Cup.
Yeah, she was our number one. I was just being nice because you were here.
Keeping that one quiet. No.
So polite.
After that one, though, we had Jesse Marsch, Jimmy Banks as our next two. With Jesse, he's obviously a great soccer person. He was a very good soccer player. Would you say he is one of the 5 best players from Wisconsin?
Yeah, I would say in the top 5 for sure.
Okay.
For sure. I think in his national career wasn't as long as he probably wanted, but I think from a club perspective, he was a great leader and really kind of helped set that kind of MLS standard.
Yeah.
And again, like if we're talking soccer people, then it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
How many people have coached zero have coached from Wisconsin in the Premier League, so he's the only one. So if you go back to the Wisconsin soccer people, he's right up there. And I love what he's doing with Canada right now. I was at the training session a couple weeks ago when Canada played up here, and I took my son to the training ground, and he was awesome. And even through the app thing that we're working on now, like we're working in with him, he wants to use it as engagement as we lead up to World Cup zones, and he's got great philosophies. He's, he really has seen it all in the coaching game as well. He was our assistant at the World Cup, so he's been through World Cup cycles. He talks just like Bob Bradley, just like all of Bob's little disciples. They all talk the same. It's so awesome.
Hey, on Jesse, he was actually the one. He had just joined the staff before the World Cup.
Yeah.
And I don't know where the conversation came from, but if you remember, Jay, we played, I think it was Czech Republic in the last game before they had sort of announced the roster. And they had to cut the team down to 23. We were up at Princeton. And, we were supposed to be around our phones till 10, whatever. Fast forward, it's like past midnight when we get the few of us get the call that we're not going to the World Cup. And it was actually Jesse was the one who was sent into the hallway to tell us that we weren't going to the World Cup. And so obviously there was anger from all of us being like, dude, this guy hasn't been on this battle. Like somebody who's been on this battle with me should be looking me in the eyes, telling me I'm not going.
Yeah.
But then as time passes and whatever, you realize man, what a big moment for Jesse, who just joined the staff, to have to go in the hallway and tell a bunch of people that their dreams are probably not going to happen, right? And you look in to see the character that he's had to go in as a coach and have the success that he's had. That takes a lot of humility, courage to step out and deliver that kind of bad message. And as time has passed, for a long time, I was like, dude, this guy telling me he wasn't. He wasn't suffering with me in Central America going through this and whatever. I want somebody, but over time, I learned to respect the fact that he was given a task in a very difficult position and went out and delivered it to all of us. And I think, again, when you think about the challenges he's taken on, he continuously kind of goes to uncomfortable places to grow as a person and a coach, which I respect.
100,000%. And I think, he really fits the Canadian spirit up here, he understands North American markets, which I think anyone that coaches in North America needs to understand, in my opinion. And I think, he really does understand that. He's got really good athletes. Canada soccer is good. They got good players. And so for him to be able to use them in the player pool, I think is only going to get better. But we got a good team too. So it's interesting for me living in Canada because I get both sides, of course. And so it's quite interesting to be in the middle, but I'll just talk soccer, so that's fine.
He also loves Wisconsin. He drafted Tom Barlow, and afterwards he was like, "Oh, he went to Wisconsin, duh."
Yeah,
and you're like, "Okay, cool. I'm glad that works out for you," and it worked out.
Yeah, no, we are a small group, so we fight for each other. That's for sure.
So,
how similar? Oh, sorry.
You go, Suze.
Wisconsin and Canada, they're not it's not as close as Minnesota, but there are some. Again, that line that we were talking about that kind of runs through, I feel like it kind of migrates all the way up to Canada.
On the Canadian side, if I'd be from Wisconsin, now I'd be from Winnipeg. And so same exact people. My ex-partner, my baby's mom is she's from Winnipeg. And so it's funny when all the cousins are together, we're you're just like you and you're just like we're all just the same people. But we're literally as the crow flies, it's Canada border's here, Wisconsin's here, and Winnipeg's right here. So it's 8-hour drive. It's so similar.
Okay, so we need your help here though, which is everyone needs to decide the end of this list. It feels like Jimmy Banks we want to put in. And Jay, I don't know if you want to give the background for anyone who doesn't know.
Well, Jimmy, he was just, he was in the time where you couldn't really play. There wasn't a lot of players. There wasn't a lot of race. There was a lot of that kind of inclusion stuff wasn't happening. And he was one that tear down barriers about inclusion and play. He was a really good player. And again, when you're from these places, you realize that you're in the small category. You're up against it. Like the opportunities aren't there. Everyone cares about something else, which is American football for the most part, especially back in the day in the 60s where he was playing. And really, we had to fight for everything we got. I was the same, even in the late 90s, early 2000s, when I had to go and fight because no one was even looking north of Chicago. Are you kidding me? Like some kid from Green Bay gets like, where am I going? You know what I mean? Like, there's no combine. There's no like good clubs that I can go play for that are anywhere near where I live. You know what I mean? And so it's like, no wonder why I didn't get drafted. That's why I didn't take it personally. And I went and found my own path because I knew I wasn't on that piece of paper. I mean, I didn't know much about the sport at the time either, but I definitely knew I wasn't on that piece of paper. And so I had to go find it. I had to go write my own stuff. And so I knew that enough, but it was also because I was from a place where I wasn't used to getting picked. I didn't take it personally. I just knew I had to find another way. And so really that allowed me to do that, but just understanding where you're from and understanding how to act because of that, it just makes it easier to navigate because you just expect it. And so I think that was one of the things that, a lot of players from Wisconsin, especially Jimmy early on, he was the first to get out of Wisconsin, get a name for himself at a high level, like really have success at the highest level. And that's when you start to go, oh, where's that? Oh, they're the first from that place, or, they're from Wisconsin. I didn't even know they could play from there. That's the jam. And it still even happens, but
yeah,
but that is just the way it is. And I think Jimmy was the first to really break that barrier. And I had one kid in Green Bay named Billy Duranso. He played for the Milwaukee Wave in the indoor, and he was the first guy I knew from Green Bay that got out of Green Bay and played some sort of professional soccer. And so we used to go down and watch the indoor stuff in Milwaukee in the winters, one game a winter or something. We go down to Milwaukee and watch. And Billy was the first guy from Green Bay. I tell him all the time because he owns a bar in Green Bay now. So we'll go in and we'll hang out with him and we'll just get into it. And I'll always leave with like huge hugs, like telling him thanks so much for like being in it. And he's like crying. He's like, this is so awesome, dude. Like, but again, like it's all part of it. It's all part of it all. Like if Billy doesn't do that, am I believing that I can get out of Wisconsin? Probably not. And so, and then I was the next to do that. And then Lauren Sesselman was the same. And so she did the same thing from Green Bay. She was a couple years behind me, but she was the first female to get out, have a great college career, and then play for a national team and have success. And so, it's amazing how just little journeys like that can make a kind of a big difference to a community. But going back to what we were talking about earlier, like I still don't think that's even close to enough. Like if you go and say our two names in Wisconsin, I would say a quarter to maybe half would know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that for me isn't good enough, not for my own ego, for the history and the culture of the game.
Yeah.
Like for real. That's what I'm talking about. And so that's the way I look at it. And so, I think we all need to do more from an alumni perspective to educate, to tell stories, to talk about guys like Jimmy Banks, who no one's ever heard of, because we're not born in 1978.
Yeah. Bob Gansler's name gets a shout out here as well, because Bob Gansler, Wisconsin native, was the coach of the 1990 World Cup team and had coached Jimmy Banks. And that's how Jimmy Banks and Desmond Armstrong end up being on the rosters of two first African-Americans to ever play at a World Cup for the U.S. men's national team. Jimmy's son, JC, plays in USL now. Jimmy coached at Milwaukee Engineering College.
Yeah.
Not sure how good they are at soccer, but that was where he worked for a while, played across all these schools. It seems like there's like college soccer rivalry across Wisconsin.
Well, they're all kind of close. Like any Milwaukee, Marquette, all these things are all like within like an hour and a half of each other. And so, yeah, it's getting there. And again, education systems are really good in Wisconsin. So a lot of people want to go to school in Wisconsin, and there's good universities from an academics perspective. And then, so that also usually always feeds down into the sports side. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting time. We're actually doing when we're launching the app this fall, we're doing a road trip to universities all across North America. and we're doing like an NFL style combine with like 6 different skill competitions and leaderboards and stuff, and like all for teenagers and like, you know, moving to college kid age. And then they make their own player card with all the different things like a FIFA card. And EA is our founding partner in our app, so they'll get like an official like EA founded like card that they're gonna make. That's awesome. I was actually talking to Marquette the other day. Can you remember Stan Anderson? You know Stan. Heath, you know Stan Anderson? Mm-hmm. Famous Wisconsin coach, goalkeeper. He's got the biggest goalkeeper school in the world. It's called what's it called? I can't remember. Camp Shutout, and it's in Wisconsin.
It's a good name.
Biggest goalkeeper camp in the world. It's awesome. Wow. So anyway, coming to a university near you.
We got corrected. JC Banks is now coaching, apparently in Tennessee. So Susanna, watch your back.
Whoa!
Yeah. Okay, whoa. Now we have to decide the fifth member of this crew. We have 4 so far.
Wait, so
you mentioned Lauren Sesselman.
We've got
Sesselman, yes.
We've got Jay, Leslie Osborne, Jesse Marsch, Jimmy Banks. Okay, so now we've got to settle on.
Sesselman's my last, for sure.
And Jay says it's done. You're not even taking.
I can tell you why for a bunch of reasons. One,
do it.
You know, she a grinder story, but also like great success. She hopped into the national team setup for Canada, and they started to compete against America and getting to finals and winning bronze medals and all the stuff. And she was back there being a fantastic defender for that team. And for her to step into that, and then obviously, I don't know if you remember, but she had like a crazy slip on the goal that ended up winning the US the game. And she got like death threats and had a whole like mental health, you know, dip because she was just getting slated online. And she took all that on and has learned how to like, you know, do a lot of like mental health work and really support players that are getting, you know, in this environment. And, you know, she's really come out of it with so much knowledge and strength. And so I think she's just a really good example of like how to do it the right way. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, she's one of those players that has done that and continues to do that. She's an entrepreneur. She does all these great things. So she's remained a really good friend of mine for a long, long time. And she's helped me out with my camp. She's been up here to be a mentor for us. There's lots of different cool things we've done over the years. And so, you know, I would definitely keep her in that top 5.
Boom. So
I don't think, we can't argue with Jay.
No, we don't need to do any more.
Wait, I do want to ask one more question though. So many people, the rules for this whole scouting report were very vague. We never really established it, but like people were like Rose Lavelle, because she played for UW Madison. Good. But like that should.
But she's from Ohio.
I don't think that should count. Yeah. She's from Ohio, but I know she represented Wisconsin.
Yeah, no.
I don't think that should qualify her.
That's done with the best university Wisconsin players category.
Yeah, that's a Badger situation, not a Wisconsin situation.
Best Badgers of all
time. A lot of the names, by the way, Susanna, we got. So Kate Margraf got brought up a bunch, and Lindsay Tarpley. Yeah. They were both born in Wisconsin, not really raised there. Matt Polster as well, born, not really raised there. So Wisco has a lot of weird like connections to Michigan and Illinois.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think the older you get, the more Midwest we all become. And, you know, I think, you know,
that's not a bad thing.
You're from Michigan, Wisconsin, we're cool now. Like, but if we're in like college, we're like, you're from, where are you from? You're from Michigan?
What is the rival state of Wisconsin?
NFL probably now, because the Bears, we just haven't had the rivalry we used to. Chicago, definitely from a foundational history, but then now I think it's more the Vikings for the NFL, for Packers. I would say for Wisconsin, probably Michigan is our UW, or UM. I mean, they're probably it from a Big Ten perspective. Ohio State over the years has now become a bigger rival for the Badgers as well.
Doesn't everyone else in the Midwest, like if you're not from Ohio, you hate Ohio State? Like that's just kind of how it works.
They've always been so good, and so that's where the rivalry starts to come. But I would say, Michigan would probably be the Big Ten rival. We don't really have many rivalries. We have the Bucks, and then we have the Brewers, but that's I don't even know.
Well, the
I can't think of any.
The Brewers are having a ridiculous season.
Yes.
Right now.
Would you say like who's their biggest rival? Like,
I mean, like this season it's the Cubs because they're right behind them.
Susanna just wants to be involved, so she's like bringing her Chicago
the Cubs and be like, "Who's your biggest rival?" And they're not being like, "Oh, the Brewers, man."
Well, here's the thing: I love we used to go. Like I love Milwaukee was not that far from where I lived, so like we would road trip up to Old County Stadium and like watch Cubs Brewers games up there, and we loved doing it. So I always had like a kind of affinity for them because the Cubs were always so bad that like I hated the Cardinals, but I never hated the Brewers. But now I'm like, oh, this is annoying. Like, why do the Brewers have to be so good when the Cubs are actually having a decent season? But yeah,
I always have that cross-border rivalry, but I don't know. I mean, in certain sports, yes, but in some others, I don't know.
But yeah, I wouldn't say that like as a person from Illinois, like I think like or Chicago, it's like St. Louis is the big rival. But like I like the Illinois-Wisconsin thing always felt very like it didn't feel like a rivalry at all.
Yeah, that's what it's kind of what I'm.
Except for the Bears, like the Bears in Green Bay, that was it.
Yeah, it's funny. I got to sing "Roll Out the Barrel" at Lambeau Field when I came back from the World Cup. They were like, "Oh my God, like you're the first person from Green Bay to play in a World Cup. So, like, we want to honor you and we want to do this like roll out the barrel thing." And so it's the end of the third quarter when they introduce the special guest, and it can be other athletes or actors or whoever it is. They always have a special guest end of the third quarter. And so we're playing against the Bears, which is awesome, like our biggest rival. And of course I'm there and I wear like these fluorescent orange hunting overalls with like a Rogers throwback and like this big like hat. And I have this huge orange sticker that says "The Bears still suck," and I'm like on the big screen. It's like, "Oh, welcome back to the World Cup." Green Bay Johnson, I'm like, but it's funny because all you have to do is count 3, 2, 1, roll out the barrel. Like that's it. And so it's like it's not like a huge assignment. And so, that's all you do. But it's and then the whole stadium turns into karaoke screens, and the whole stadium sings "Roll Out the Barrel." So it was top 3 sporting moments in my life. World Cup, playoff final, Lambeau Field. Like seriously, that's my top 3.
Oh, it's amazing.
Man, I wish I was from a place that was so pure that there was just one thing that you could love at its core, like maple syrup flowing out of you, and that was it.
14 pounds of it.
14 pounds of cheese. That's true. All right, Suzanne, I think this was a successful first ever happy hour.
A great happy hour. I could sit on here for hours, but I know everyone has lives to live. Before we go though, quickly, is there any match or anything this weekend that people are excited about? Anything that's on your radar?
Do you want to start for us?
I have one because it's Wisconsin related. No, One Knox is playing Forward Madison in USL League One in Madison this weekend, and this is big. It's important. It's important 3 points right now.
Do you have a scouting report for us?
Any jersey for me that has a flamingo on it in Wisconsin is the right design style.
It's they are elite, and they have.
I would be pro Forward.
Have you ever watched a Forward Madison match, Jay?
I have not.
They have a like flamingo themed bouncy castle kind of situation there that just looks tremendous. And
this is that culture piece I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean they really nailed it. No, Forward Madison beat One Knox earlier this season, but One Knox they've found their stride a little bit offensively in the attack, and they've just brought in a new striker, and so I'm excited to see if he gets some minutes and what he can do. So
I love it.
We'll see.
I'm going Pacific Northwest. I'm saying Portland, Seattle, NWSL at Providence Park. Doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's awesome. Those are great rivalries. Those are kind of the only ones I miss. Like in my world, like those Cascadia rivalries were fun. They were really, really fun, and it kind of showed that Pacific Northwest kind of soccer culture. It's a special culture.
Are you excited about Mueller joining Vancouver?
I mean, we're a good team right now, that's for sure. And adding him as a weapon.
Does he make it that? How much better does he make Vancouver?
Well, I think he makes him a lot better because what I understand about the MLS, and Brian White can be a fantastic finisher and he's an all-star and he's amazing.
Love Brian White.
But the later you get, the more we get him concentrated. So you need somebody else too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And adding somebody of the quality of a Mueller. Again, this is the thing about having DPs. Just like a Gareth Bale. You need him for coming on. It doesn't matter when, but he gets that one finish to do the one time to win the one game. And that's the buy you pay him. That's what he is. And again, he's been doing that for 20 years. And so I don't see that changing at MLS standard. You know, I think that adds. And so I'm hoping he scores a lot of goals for us. And I think, you know, pair him with the Brian White. And I think we're pretty dangerous now moving into serious playoff talk, which has never really been a part of Vancouver's you know, we're not
perennial dark
part
horse
of our vocabulary.
of MLS.
Playoffs.
Wait.
Nation.
Jay, how is a German going to do in Vancouver? We talked about the iffiness of Colombians in Portland, but what about a German over there in Vancouver?
Dude's playing the winter. He's fine. Germany's like, you take a week off, but it snows tomorrow and you're in it training at 8 a.m.
Keith, can you attest to that?
He's fine.
Hey, our club ran out of money in the Bundesliga the first year. So when we went for training camp in the winter, they're like, we're going to do the first week in town, but at the beach. But the beach was covered in snow. And so like 6 a.m. runs. But I mean, I was also with a coach that was like at the end of the era of like, if you just beat your players down enough, they'll be disciplined, you know, like that era is obviously gone. I don't know. Brian Schmetzer still has a little bit in him of like old school, like discipline, but yeah, they are like, you know, very, the Germans will figure it out. You know,
For a snow beach run, what footwear are you wearing? Cleats?
No, it was just like you're in runners. It wasn't like deep snow. It was just like, it was cold enough that it had a layer of like kind of ice, sleet, snow on the sand.
Sounds safe. Sounds like
fun.
Yeah. While
like Hamburg, who is our like closest team in St. Pauli, we're on like an Emirates flight to Dubai for the winter. We were like, let's go to the beach, but the one down the street where we can run at 6 a.m. 2 hours before there's light.
Right. EasyJet 99.
Keith, are you calling any games this weekend?
I'm on Austin, Houston.
Ooh, that's a little Texas
obviously
derby.
That one's and then Austin has Dallas after that. So there's some Texas stuff going on, and Houston went over in the Leagues Cup, and so you know that there's some added, you know, not too far off from each other in the table around this playoff push. So it should be a good game. Should be.
Awesome.
Go to the Haymaker and say hi for us.
Yeah, great bar.
You guys got them a lease on life for how much love they've gotten over the last year.
Yeah.
Also, you know?
If you offer me one drink one time, I will talk about you forever. Everyone knows that.
It's amazing the way that I just want to have you indebted to me, Goss, on just like one thing, because you'll pay me back for like 2 years. You know, like, you know, just
listen. I sent a picture from 2017 of you broadcasting a USL game. And I'm still indebted to you for the work you did on that game.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. Well, hey, Heath, Jay, thank you guys so much for taking the time to hang with us this evening. This was so much fun.
Pleasure.
Love chatting with you. Goss, Claudia, always a pleasure. Have a fantastic night, everybody. And thanks for hanging and enjoy the weekend, y'all.
Bye-bye.
See ya.